podcast, Spaghetti on the Wall. I'm Eileen Douse, Chair Emeritus and Director of Assessments for INIFAC. And today I'm joined by Elba Torres. She's a certified master facilitator with INIFAC and also a global executive. And today's topic's really interesting because we're going to talk about younger generations and the importance of facilitation in the workplace. So welcome, Elba.
Thank you, Elise. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
It's so great to see you again. You and I were hanging out in Mexico City in October, and we'll be hanging out again soon.
We're looking forward for that.
Me too. So, Elba, anyone looking at the screen will know that there's a bit of an age difference between you and I. So how would you define younger generation?
Thank you, Eileen. And I think it's important what you have in your heart and how you feel about your age. So
That's
not to consider it. But talking to the workplace, younger generations for me are the centennials, what we call in Mexico centennials or Gen Z. And those are the ones that were born after 2000. So by now they are entering the workforce. They have between 20, 25 years old, and that's the younger generations.
Mm. And with this younger generation, what are you finding is the attitude or the expectations of this group?
Well, they have a lot of clarity on what they want and also what are those demands. And they are very vocal to communicate those to the corporations. That's very interesting, and that's very different from the other generations that are around in the
Yeah.
workforce. Something that they are looking is for a balance. It is crucial for them to have work-life balance and work
Mm.
not to be their fully focused or just their
Mm-hmm.
only the only priority. So
Yes.
they are really looking to have a life, to enjoy life. It is very important for them. And what we do in my program is tell them that's possible, but they have to make a compromise for that,
Mm.
right? They have to gain it.
Mm. And I do want to talk about your program in a moment. Well,
Okay.
let's go there. And well, no, I'm sorry. I'm all over. How are, here's my question first before we talk about your program. How are Gen Zs being received in organizations these days with those attitudes and personality or preferences?
I can tell you this is a shock for the younger generations and also for the corporations because that's completely different than
Yeah,
what we have used to before.
yeah, yeah.
For the corporations, they are also adapting to the centennials, understanding these new demands that they are bringing, but also the talents that they put into the table. So the corporations, big companies have to adapt and also train the current workforce in order to take out the most of younger generations of Gen Z, and also to train these centennials for they also to interact with the people that is already working within the companies.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the program
Okay.
you created because my understanding is you saw the need and you were out there addressing the need. What if what's included in your program and what and why?
Okay. Momentum Universitario is the name of the program, and it's a 90-day hybrid program that is focused on recent grads from university, and it's co-founded or co-designed with big corporations that what we do is we train the recent grads or the students that are in the last semesters of the university to teach them what are the corporations looking for them in a professional in a new contributor. So we provide that sense of belonging, that sense of reality about how is the workplace, and also
Mm,
employability. What are they requiring in order to become the best candidate? The best,
yes.
not we know that they have a lot of capacity, a lot of potential, but it is crucial for them to communicate it. so in the way that corporations are looking for them. So we basically are the bridge between the workplace and also these new grads or the university students.
In full self disclosure, I will say that you and I are both very passionate about facilitation.
Yes.
So it's no surprise. So when you talk about this preparation of younger generation, how does the use and teaching of facilitation skills weave into helping these younger people prepare for entering into the workforce or just general great skills? Again, I'm very biased, great skills to have as an individual as you grow and learn.
Well, what corporations are providing feedback, it's about the soft skills or the power skills that younger generations need by entering the workforce. And facilitation is, of course, one of these power skills. Why? Because now we work in a hybrid environment with some people that are like long distance, like you and I are connecting now, but also that are at the office. So they first need to understand how to interact in those environments,
Oh, yeah,
and
right.
also they will be required to work in teams, right? And also to get information and for an entry level position from others or talk to their bosses, to their managers. So that's when facilitations comes really important. For example, preparing for a meeting, that's key. What are the outcomes that they are really needed? What is the purpose of these sessions that they will be needed to interact? And that's the importance that we're trying to communicate and for they to develop those skills. Like it is facilitation, it is just a key skill for they to interact in the current workplace, especially now with what we are experimenting as nowadays, in 2026.
Yeah. And you use the word interact. And certainly in the world of facilitation, we talk about engagement. And one of the things that seems to be noticeable with these Gen Zs or with the Gen Z generation is this way to connect, this get off your phone, how to connect. So, how do you approach this best ways to interact, best ways to engage with that kind of mindset of facilitating the dialogue? What do you teach about that?
Well, as you see, we are always, as you mentioned, connected to our phones, like 24/7. And Gen Z is more like they really are like 24/7.
Yeah.
So what we do as in Momentum Universitario, as we are a hybrid platform and we have this e-learning systems, we actually take advantage of that and we use a phone for what? To get engagement, to get interaction. There are some specific tools like a Mentimeter or we have Slido, so we use them. So when we are giving a training or providing, actually asking for feedback for like for people to participate on the session,
Yeah.
to have the feeling that they are being seen and they are being heard, so they can see. It is very interesting when they see their name appearing on the screen and they see, oh, that's what I am like answering to this question. So I think that is key.
Yeah.
Like we do not have to fight back the tools or the like the environment
There you
that we're
go.
living. So we have to embrace it and really take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And that's what we are trying to do. And so far it's working.
Yay. So that is the almost the how to get people to listen to me. What techniques do you teach so that others will listen to them? Because it's tough, right? If you have an older person, it's like, you are the younger person, you don't know anything. That just means you might need to change the way you interact and converse and have a conversation with someone.
Exactly. And when we mention it is about networking, that networking is a path of two
Mm.
ways. Like, of course, the older person has experience, but the younger person has the energy and sometimes
Mm.
fresh perspective. And we also try to teach these young talents how they can provide ideas and in a
Mm.
respectful way, but
Beautiful.
raise their hand and say, "Hey, I might not have all the experience that you have, but I want to share this perspective to how they can provide that value to put it on the table." So I think that's something really interesting, and also we are working with corporations for they to be eager to listen to this fresh perspective that we
Hmm.
all need, right?
Yeah, I think you really hit on a very important point here, that it does go both ways. And what I know is what's really important is creating this safe, inclusive environment. So for the young people to approach the situation so that there can be this safety, so that you are, not making someone else feel bad. But certainly for organizations to open up and listen, because, like you said, I think that the younger generation has a lot of information and a lot of perspectives that are very valuable.
Yeah. And something else that they are looking now that they are entering the workforce, it's clarity. So centennials are looking for a lot of feedback and clarity. They want to know, okay, if I do X, what is going to happen in 6 months, in 12 months? So they really are looking for the corporations, for their managers to provide this path and also to say, hey, I want to receive like a feedback on how am I doing, what do I need to improve. So that's very interesting also.
Yeah, you say that, Elba, and what's going to be the best way to provide feedback? And here's why I'm making this crinkled look on my face. It's like, because I have heard some interesting stories where one manager's told a Gen Z, you achieved expectations. So basically, check. And
Okay.
their response was, "Are you going to fire me?" And the manager was like, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "Well, I really wanted better feedback than that." So that receiving feedback certainly has this sense of, how do you feel about yourself, right? And are you open to that growth mindset?
Yeah, I'm glad that you're raising that point because that's exactly something that we also teach in our training program, how to ask and how to receive the feedback. Because I think that's something that you learn in your professional path as you get
Mm-hmm.
older, and it
Mm-hmm.
is important like to ask if you want to receive the best answer, you have to ask the best question, right, or a better question. So
Right.
what we have seen is that these centennials want feedback at the moment. So they don't want to wait
Ah.
for the trimester or like after the year end to see how they are doing. So if you have to call attention or if you have an area of opportunity for them, you have to really mention it at the moment so they can really react to that and understand what is happening and how they can be better, right? Also on the praise, like if you want to recognize what they are really excelling or what they are doing in a good way, you also have to provide that sense of recognition. That's important for this generation for you to do that. So that will be my advice.
Is that almost like using that sandwich approach, where I'm going to give you something positive, then I'm going to give you the negative feedback, then I'm going to give you something positive? I personally, I have a hard time with that one, because if I
I
tell
think
you
it's
some,
more.
go
No,
ahead.
I think it's more about being authentic because these
Mm,
sentence that's what they value, and it
there you
is,
go.
hey, you don't have to like sugarcoat this feedback. Just
There you go.
give it at the moment, because that's how I will improve, and that's what
Yes,
I want. I want
exactly.
a place where I can feel safe, where I can feel myself, because that's something that they are really asking. A place where they can be like honest, where they can be really in their own full their identity. So that's what they are looking. But I think it is more in the immediate feedback, like at the timing.
Yeah.
What it is more the comment.
Thank you for saying that because for me, if you do that, let me give you a nice comment. Oh, I like that. You've done such a good job, Elba. You know, looking very professional today. The people are just waiting for the but, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to give you the real message. And so that whole thought about being authentic and perhaps with a little bit less emotion, right? Where
Okay.
it's not about it's not about me, it's I'm going to give you straight feedback that will really help you, right? Is that am I on the right track there?
Yeah, 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 correctly. That's exactly the path that we are pursuing. Yeah.
And speaking of feedback and communicating, what are the communication preferences of the younger generation? And I'm making an assumption that it's short and sweet, or is it more have that dialogue? This might be a cultural
No, no, I think
piece.
it is global. It is short because remember that they are native digital natives. So
Mm,
now they communicate with emoticons, with emojis, with the gifs. So
mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
I think something that we teach them is, hey, the other people might require something else than a sticker, right?
Yeah.
Because if you say this, okay, are you okay? Did you understand? Like, we really need a little bit more of
Yeah.
explanation, or our context.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure they want this immediate conversation, and the timing. It's everything in
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, with especially with this generation.
One of the things about facilitation that we know is that when you're in the room or when you and I are talking, there is an importance to developing this level of trust between the two of us. You know, you can trust me to ask you good questions, or you can trust me that if you disagree with me, that's okay in our conversation today. What would be the best way to form this sense of trust or build rapport with someone from a younger generation? And then I'm going to ask the reverse, what's going to be the best way for someone in the younger generation to build rapport with their manager?
I think I go back to the authenticity, like not trying to pretend about being a good manager, or like just having the leader perspective, like being natural, and saying, hey, I am in the workplace, I have more experience than you, but this is just because I have more years that I have been here, and I'm willing to share that with you that are willing to learn,
Mm,
right? I think that's a good perspective that we have found on the ones that have more experience.
yeah.
And for the centennials, I think this recognize that even though they are native digitals, that they are around a lot of information, that they do not have all the answers. Not because you have in artificial intelligence that you can consult, that you can really have the answer. So you need to be humble,
Mm,
and really willing to learn from others, because you're young, right? And you
yeah.
have a lot of energy and a lot of passion about what it will be, just this entry level position that you are starting. But also you have still a long way to learn
Yeah.
a lot of what is happening in big corporations.
I think that that word, or to be humble, also goes both ways,
Yeah.
right? For the younger generation to be humble, and the managers or the people in the organizations to be humble. And I would sprinkle that with a whole bunch of empathy,
Yeah,
because it's,
and that's difficult, and that's something sometimes that we also learn as we grow.
yeah, absolutely. So, Elba, for anyone watching this, what would be really important for someone who falls into that younger generation, who wants to learn more about the value of using facilitation skills in the workforce, or getting more into facilitation and seeing its value? What do you recommend for them?
I totally recommend that they visit the INIFAC site. Like,
Oh,
not
good
really.
point. Great. I did not feed you that.
No, 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 no. I know that, but I have personally myself
Yeah.
see the power of facilitation through all my
Yeah.
career. I think facilitation is very different than project management or the teaching, because I will say something that you use every day, right? Even when you're with your family, now that I have kids, or when you're in the
Right.
workplace, like it is actually how do you interact? How do you engage? How
Yeah.
do you try others to
Yeah.
provide their perspective? But for me, at the end, is how to achieve what is the expected outcome,
Yeah.
and having all people involved and feeling that they are all winning, and not having that. So it
Yes.
is negotiation. It is a lot that really facilitation has taught me. So my recommendation will be actually to really visit the site of INIFAC. What are the current tools that are available
Yeah.
for them, and just start practicing, because that's something also that I have learned. You cannot facilitate in theory. You have to really do it, right? You have to put it in practice in order to get better every
Yeah.
time.
It's funny that you said that, Elba. When my children were teenagers, my daughter came to me with a typical teenager issue. I don't even remember what it was. And I proceeded using some facilitation skills to ask questions. And she turned to me and she said, "Mom, I don't need a facilitator. I need a mother." And I'm like, oh, I said, that's all I know how to be, right? You use these facilitation skills. And she has now moved on to be great in facilitating conversations. Yes, the facilitation skills can be used in any component of your life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Great. Well, Elba, thank you so much for sharing your experience, for sharing your knowledge, and for helping this younger generation. It's fabulous that we have someone guiding this next group into the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. It is my passion. I hope this program have existed when I was a recent grad from university. So
Oh,
thank you so
wonderful.
much.